And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, and Game Source. We truly appreciate everyone out there listening to all of our shows. And if you can, please give us that 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. Plus, if you can like, share, subscribe, follow, or do anything that you can to support us right here at the Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, Game Source, the great guys at LakerHolics.com. Be part of the conversation today at LakerHolics.com. Of course, also the great guys at LakersBall.com. Ox1947 is always waiting for you right there in one of the great chat groups at LakersBall.com. Plus, our good friends at the Hoopheads Podcast Network, which has a great array of NBA-related podcasts, including ours available right at your very fingertips. And if you could support all of that, it is sincerely appreciated. Well, the summer of Lakers rebuilding to hopefully a championship-winning team continues, and the drive marches on, and the rumors are still all over the place. I know I've seen and read and heard like 13,000 rumors in the past few days, but that continues. Okay, are we going to trade with Indiana? Are we still going to trade for Kyrie Irving? Have we got another new potential trade on the block? Well, with all those trades comes one person who has to go ahead and help decide if these trades are going to happen or if any trade is going to happen, and that's the GM of the Los Angeles Lakers. Well, of course, on the other side as well, they're the corresponding individuals on the other teams, but of course, on the Lakers side, it all comes down to GM Rob Pelinka, as Rob Pelinka is hopefully going to go ahead and navigate us through this wonderful time as far as rebuilding, where the hopes are high, and the fans here in Las Vegas for Summer League are betting a lot of money on the Los Angeles Lakers to go ahead and win it all, driving down those odds even more. And here today to talk about Rob Pelinka's job so far, because a lot of fans are still, like me, questioning the job performance of Rob Pelinka so far this summer. He's a good man indeed. Well, he's here and he's there and he's everywhere for LakerHolics.com. You got to go ahead and catch his latest article today at LakerHolics.com. It is LakerTom, and LakerTom, I do want to update everybody on the game tonight at Summer League here in Las Vegas. The Lakers winning for the first time in Vegas Summer League this year. They won going away in the fourth quarter. Very good for the Lakers and very good for Lakers fans with an 83-72 victory over their heated rival, the Los Angeles Clippers. The three highlighted individuals, Max Christie, Scottie Pippen Jr., and also Cole Swider, kind of didn't have impressive games today. There's more left to the guys that are trying to still fight for any NBA roster, like Mason Jones, Javonte McCoy. Those guys had 15 and 14 respectively. Those were really the only standout performances so far. For this game, added on 10 rebounds for Mason Jones and a good performance. So hopefully he can actually go ahead and try and see if he can squeeze his way onto the Lakers roster with these kind of performances. But we'll see. Javonte McCoy, the same thing. But with the Lakers, it's all about who can we get to help us go ahead and become relevant once again in the NBA. Right now, it has to be Rob Pelinka. But in your mind, has Rob Pelinka done the job so far this summer?
Well, I think Rob's gotten maligned unfairly.
I don't think so.
I think that there's been a lot of up and downs in the season, and it's hard to pin exactly why some of the moves have been made that have been made. There's some questions about what ability Jeannie Buss has allowed Rob to do financially on trades. The word is that the Lakers will not give up a draft pick for Russell Westbrook. They will not take money back in a trade for Russell Westbrook. And in fact, they won't take back any contracts except for one-year contracts because of LeBron James. That's all the further that they're guaranteed from LeBron that he will remain a Laker. So it's been a tough situation. I identified 5 steps that I thought were the key steps that would mark a successful transition from a team that missed the playoffs to be a championship contending team. And the first of those, I think that Rob has succeeded in getting the first three of the five. And those were number one, to hire Darvin Ham as the head coach of the Lakers. I think that it's this is an organization that really lacked the leadership and lacked a charismatic visionary who really could provide what Jerry Buss provided to the team in the early years, and or what Jerry West provided to them at key moments in their history. Somebody who really had a vision and had the charisma to really get everybody all on the same page. And Darvin seems to be that person. The second thing I think that Rob really did, which is remarkable, is that he gave him a 4-year contract, allowed him to choose his own staff and to choose the style of play that he wanted to play. Now, it's not a coincidence that the Lakers interviewed two guys who were assistants with the Milwaukee Bucks, because they saw the success that the Bucks coaching staff had in creating spacing for Giannis, and they wanted to bring somebody in who had the ability to offensively modernize the Lakers and be able to create the kind of spacing that LeBron and AD just haven't had with Frank Vogel's offenses. So I think that was a second really successful step that they made. And then the third thing I think Pelinka did, and I was kind of befuddled and at times critical about it at first, is he created a backup plan for Russell Westbrook in case the Lakers really couldn't trade him or decided not to trade him. And part of that plan was, step one was to basically increase or rehabilitate Westbrook's trade value. And the second part of it obviously was to also let Russell Westbrook know that if he was going to return, things weren't going to be the same. And therefore, it put quite an onus on him to be able to really almost puts Westbrook in a situation where he has, as he has right now, said that he wanted to trade from Los Angeles. And mostly that's probably due to hearing through the news and the media that LeBron was in favor of trading for Kyrie. So I think those three things he's successfully done. The fourth part about it is to build a roster, and unlike they did last year, to really build a roster that your coach wants. And Darvin Ham wants a younger, more athletic, better shooting roster. They've got 2/3 of that. They got younger and they got more athletic, but they haven't gotten better shooting.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Well, if the goal is to get that
goes to the fifth one, which is they need to move Russell Westbrook, and the trade that they've engineered is going to bring 3 shooters from the Nets, and including Kyrie Irving. So I think that trade is still in the air. There's been a recent aggregation of a report from the New York Post that was basically saying that, well, since Kyrie actually opted in, it sounds like he really wants to play with the Nets. And that turned into a story that's been aggregated and repeated about 20 times on the internet. But generally, everything that you read pretty much says that the deal is at this point in time being held up because the Lakers are still trying to see if they can steal the deal by just giving him one pick. And the obvious trade-off is the Lakers will give him a second pick, but they also want some other players included in the deal. It's got to be a neutral deal because neither team is willing to take on more salary than they have right now because they're both taxpayers. Neither team wants to take back anybody with more time on their contract than the other team. And so that pretty well limits you. And there's a certain players that each team is available for. And there's also a group of players that the San Antonio Spurs are willing to throw into the pot and see if they can come away with something. So I still think the deal is going to get done. And when that deal gets done, then we'll have the final thing. We'll have the shooters, and then we'll have something that nobody really counted on the Lakers being able to have after they got rid of Russell Westbrook, which is still have a superstar big three, except that now it would be LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Kyrie Irving.
Well, I agree with Terrell Davis. He's been very kind. Also, as well, on our Facebook chat, Paciano Candelario, Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. I know Facebook and YouTube are all watching. Got great comments. Terrell, I agree with you. I mean, the question is, can we get LeBron to do the extension? I think that's a major part of what we need to worry about. If LeBron doesn't sign the extension, I think that's a major black eye for Rob Pelinka. I've still got his job performance very much in question. I know that from what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing in my evaluation on Walker the Fourth, he is an overpay at 6.5. I don't care what LakerTom you say on, he just wanted 1 year, could have done a 1-and-1, could have, he's at $6.5 million. He is just not someone exactly right now that you go in and you pay that kind of money for with the MLA. He is just one. Really, the statistics bear out as far as I know. You tried to sugar it, and as far as the second half, he shot 36%. The first half, he did shoot 28%, so that totals right around 31, 32%. Again, if he is trending up, then he's going to prove to everyone, including me, that he is worth that money. But right now, most analysts are saying that that was a little bit of an overreach on there, but that is just still a small part of the equation.
I would agree. I would agree. I wasn't thrilled with the pick.
Yeah,
but what we still don't know, Gerald, is what were the dynamics behind the decision to draft him.
To get him in free agency.
Yeah, there were other guys. There were other guys that we could have spent the MLE on who actually didn't even take the full MLE to sign with.
Or like TJ Warren, who signed for the minimum. I know he still might be hurt, but he would have been a great get, if he plays anywhere near like he did in the ball.
But what's the story? I think before we can make a judgment on that, we really got to find out were the players that the Lakers had all targeted, did they all decline to go to the Lakers, or did the Lakers just decide that they weren't going to try to sign them?
And I will give you credit, and I got to give you credit on your magical list that you had out in front of your sheet on that day. We were all hyped up to go ahead and do so. Mm-hmm. You had to scratch everyone off your list because they were all going at higher prices. So I can understand then what the Lakers could offer them.
But not all of them did.
Not all of them.
It's a funny thing. At the end, there were 2 or 3 that, boy, I would have loved the Lakers to have, but so you don't know. But at any rate, no, I'm not saying it's been a perfect situation, and all you have to do is look at the history since Rob Pelinka's been here. We've made some excellent choices. The scouting has been excellent in the draft. I'm not so sure about Christie. I think that's another questionable pick, especially
with him. It's just I never want to make a first impression on, especially when they're so young. Yep. For him, it's about if the Lakers draft him, they will not see any type of real.
He's not going to be on the floor with LeBron, man.
2-3 years down the line, he's got to develop that shot. He's going to have to develop in the G League. He's not going to play any type of rotational minutes unless something dramatic happens this year. Fans that are looking forward to Max Christie probably will not see him until 2023, 2024 to make even any kind of dent in the rotation because of the way he's playing now. With Scottie Pippen Jr., was a nice kid as far as a playmaker is concerned, but he's always looking for he's got to tone down when he does his playmaking because he's apt to make a lot of turnovers because he's looking to make the highlight play, and also he has to go ahead and develop his shot. Cole Swider, today he didn't have a good performance, but he's been
he'll get a permanent roster spot.
Yeah, because he's a decent shooter, but can he play the defense that you need to stick on the floor at the NBA level? Yeah, probably
not. But if he can shoot well,
if he can shoot well, that's the thing. But you got to have defenders around him. That's the only thing. Right. So again, with those kind of players that you're, how many Austin Reeves are going to come out of the woodworks on there? I know. That Austin Reeves was here over the weekend in Las Vegas visiting everyone, and his future looks bright, and everybody's so happy for him. I know that my good friend Rafael Barlow, he actually had the chance to go ahead and just say a few words to him, chat with him a little bit. I know that he knows him from the past, so hopefully you can go ahead and have him on his show, The Big Board podcast for the Locked On Podcast Network. Got a chance to see Rafael over the weekend. That was great. Truly appreciate that. But here at Summer League, it's all about networking. It's all about the GMs getting it together. So Rob Pelinka, I know he's had conversations. Everybody out there knows he's had conversations this past weekend with not only Sean Marks, the Nets GM, in regards to Kyrie Irving, we're pretty sure that one domino has to fall before another domino has to go. But if it's a draft pick that's
I'm
holding
not
it up,
sure that's true. I'm not sure that's true in the Kyrie case. It's funny. Neither the Nets nor the Lakers have any other options. That's what's hilarious about this situation. There's nobody else wants Kyrie, and there's nobody else wants Russ. And actually, they don't want Russ at all. That's
nobody
just a way
wants
of getting rid
Russ
of Kyrie.
at $47
Nobody
million.
wants Russ. Russ will be bought out wherever he goes.
Yes.
So you got these two teams that they know that they're going to make this deal. So they're just messing around with, is it one draft choice? Is it a first and a second, or is it a first?
Well, if Brooklyn doesn't get an option to, if they don't get a trade option that they like for Kevin Durant, they may decide to play hardball with Kevin Durant and keep him on the roster.
But they're not going to do that with Kyrie, because Kyrie is the burn the bridge like James Harden type that's going to make it impossible for him to stay there. He already has. That's not going to happen.
Okay.
It just isn't.
All right. Well, again, there's still very many questions out there. Looks like it's going to be a long play, in my opinion, over the course of the summer. This is something that looks like it's not going to break.
It's something that has a terrifically high ceiling, and as we know with Kyrie, it's got a basement that's really deep too.
Yeah, but again, if this is the year he has to perform, there's no other year he has to be more inclined to perform at a Kyrie Irving level than this year.
It's a contract year, and it's a comeback
that's what I'm saying.
year.
Yeah, and he's over the age of 30.
Year.
He is 30 now. He's in his age 30 year. It's his contract year. If he wants to sign a long-term contract extension with anyone in next summer, Lakers or otherwise, he has to perform at a level whichever team he's with this year. Terrell David said Gerald, LeBron James, and Kyrie Irving, they played, proven that they can fit together. Why the hesitation in the Lakers front office? If there is, that's the rumor, is that the Lakers have been unwilling to go ahead and give back all their picks, which is the 27 and 29 first-round picks. I know what Brooklyn's been asking for. Brooklyn has been asking for a lot for Kevin Durant, and obviously they haven't found anything that they like there yet. With the Lakers, again,
Rob hasn't offered anything. All he's offered is a first and a second.
But I know what I'm assuming. What Sean Marks, if I'm Sean Marks, I'm asking for it all. I'm asking for it all. I'm asking for
two unprotected picks.
Exactly, and everything to free up space. You've got to have Joe Harris. You got to go ahead and take his contract on. That's fine. Yep. At this point, if this is the last remaining shot, I think, to go ahead and keep LeBron James. Because if you want LeBron James on your roster going forward and you want him to sign that extension, you better get Kyrie Irving over here. Otherwise, it's going to be a very, very difficult thing.
And it really, it's funny. You can blame Genie for not, it's not that. Everybody thinks that it's a case where they're not making a trade because they're holding up. And you're worried that it's going to be a situation like the Kyle Lowry trade, where at the last minute we're going to say, no, we're not gonna give you that second first rounder,
or the Sacramento thing with Buddy Hield at that time,
right? And that's not it. The point is that they're just waiting. They're just going to wait. They're just going to sit there and wait because they know that at some point there's no other option for the Brooklyn Nets other than to trade Kyrie to the Lakers.
Yeah,
they keep asking. They want a second pick. Why don't the Lakers want to give them a second pick? I'll tell you, it's simple, because that second pick is going to either be given to the San Antonio Spurs in order to take Westbrook's contract, so they can't give it away then, or secondly, it's going to be used to trade THT and Nunn for somebody else out there that they want, a Buddy Hield or whatever.
And that's part of the reason why they're playing hardball, but also because of what you said earlier, is because the Lakers feel that there's no one else out there that's interested in obtaining Kyrie Irving at this
point. Well, there isn't. There isn't. I mean,
we don't know that for 100% for sure, but again,
we do know for 100% because 2 days ago they announced. 2 days ago, it must have been the Nets. They announced that there was also interest in Kyrie from the Mavericks and the
76ers and the 76ers.
And within, as Wendy said, within 10 minutes, both of those teams sent up notices denying that they had any interest at all.
Well, again,
So
it could be a
there is
situation where if
nobody
somebody
else.
wants to free up cap space, they can suddenly become interested in
No,
Kyrie
it's
Irving
a
at any
90, it's a 90-10 situation, and the 10% is because this is the NBA and something crazy could happen. Because 2 months ago, we never thought we'd be sitting here talking about the Lakers trading Russell Westbrook for anything other than a bunch of terrible players. And
Yep.
here we are talking about a top 5 player, at least on the court. He's a top 5 player,
I
not
would put that.
not mentally.
Yeah, well, I'd say a top 20. I'll give him a top 20.
Oh,
He's
come
only
on,
had
Gerald.
he's had a
Gerald, this
couple.
guy is deadly.
Well, that doesn't make him a top 10, top 5 player. I'm sorry. I would put him top 20. When he's
He's a
50,
40
40,
10 90
90.
guy. He's a 40 10 90
When
guy.
he's a 50, 40,
A
90 guy,
volume, a volume one.
but he doesn't play defense only when he wants to. When his,
No, but we can hide one guy. We can hide one guy like
again,
that. No
you're
problem.
hiding him. You're hiding Swider. You're hiding all these players.
Yeah.
They need more defenders. So hopefully those young players that we
that's
brought
why
in,
they spend all of that's why they spend all of the free agency opportunity not on older veterans, but on younger, quicker legs, guys who are long and young. I mean, it's just a really amazing that we have 12 of the 17 players will be under 30. That's really remarkable when you consider that I think last year it had to be 12, at least 12 guys over 30 out of the 17 players, I mean, and obviously the two-way players do swing in the youth thing a little bit, but they've done a remarkable job. And all of that, I think, is a lot of that was tied to, I think a lot of these choices were heavily influenced by Darvin Ham, because he was in the situation room with Rob making all of those decisions, and he wanted youth and athleticism for the defense that he wants to play. And I think also the Lakers, Pelinka probably realized that, we really got old and slow last year by going the veteran route.
Well,
you play for these guys because they're good in the playoffs, but we didn't even make the playoffs.
Well, again, a lot of it comes back down to Rob Pelinka. People can say Clutch runs the Lakers, and the Rambuses run the Lakers, and Phil Jackson from Montana runs the Lakers. But when it comes down to it, his name is on the title. His name is on the title on his desk right there. It says Rob Pelinka. Yes, he did help coordinate a 2020 World Championship team, so you can never take that away from him. But the job he's done since has not been stellar, and I think a lot of pressure. Yeah, well, I think, again, a lot of the pressure is on him, and deservedly so, because he's created a situation where the Lakers have been feeling effects from that Anthony Davis trade. They're seeing that effects of that Anthony Davis trade even to this day, and the Lakers have got to make smart moves in order to offset that to still continue to build a championship-level team. Hopefully we can get that done. Again, a lot of that rests on the shoulders of Kyrie Irving in regards to him being moved over, if he does get moved over, or when he does get moved over.
It's really miraculous, though, when you think about it, that we really have this opportunity. I mean, we were talking at one point in time, I think, and I'm an optimistic guy, as everybody knows.
Really?
Right?
Wouldn't know.
But at one point in time, we were thinking about, maybe Kemba. Maybe we could get Kemba and a couple of those guys from New York or something. That was like the dream. That was the dream Russell Westbrook trade at one point in time. And now you're talking about Kyrie effing Irving, man. I mean, he's a flat earth crazy nut, and you don't know what he could do, and that's why there's definitely got to be a 10% opportunity until he signs the actual contract, man, or until the trade is actually officially announced. But it's just an incredible situation that, and it's not even just him. In the background, you got Ben Simmons and James Harden influencing the whole situation, and
well, James Harden's now in Philadelphia, so
right, but this whole thing really started because of James Harden, because KD decided who he wanted. He wanted Kyrie and James. What a great choice.
It started with Kyrie Irving going ahead and doing and saying things that he did and said and done. So I think that's what turned off James Harden in the first place, and then now what's turned off Kevin Durant in the second place, and now you have the situation that you're in. But again, until it gets done, I cannot guarantee it to be so. Up until this point, is Rob Pelinka getting it done? Until that trade gets done, I'd have to say there's still a lot of work to be had, and Rob Pelinka has not gotten it done as of yet.
Well, let me ask you this question, just a fair question.
Always.
If we get the trade for Kyrie Irving, and you're happy with the players that we get with him and so forth, how would you rate his job then?
I'd rate it substantially higher. I'd go from a D to a B. So it's
A
not an A.
B,
Yeah,
a
it's not a.
B.
Yeah, until the Lakers, until you see the product out on the floor and where they stand in the Western Conference, you can't go ahead and say, I give you an A, bequeath you an A. You got to go ahead and see the results on the floor. We all, okay, I didn't think that Russell Westbrook. I told you from the get go, and I have that on record on the YouTube. I was looking at our comments on the Russell Westbrook trade that day when I saw it on YouTube. But uh, I guess everybody
Well,
out there who was positive.
He also had the same concerns before we went into the championship in the bubble too.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, that was great for the Lakers, and obviously everything worked out as well. And the Davis trade, 10 times out of 10, I would make that trade because it resulted in a championship. If you ask me if you would make that trade, 30 of these organizations would say they would make that trade. They would say, hey,
Well,
if you could win one championship, but you would have these kind of issues afterwards, would you still make that trade? You make that trade every single time because you won that one championship. So there you
unless
go.
other than the 4 or 5 times in NBA history when you've had a truly dynastic team,
Yeah.
the Kobe teams, the Kobe and Shaq teams, the Michael and Scotty teams, and teams that just or the Golden State Warriors team right now, teams that dominate half a decade or a whole decade. Those are teams that are really, to get to be those types of teams. Even holding those teams, there's a lot of teams that had good championship years that were as good as any of those teams, but being able to replicate that as the character of the team changes. I mean, we just saw from a championship team to a non-playoff team in 2 years, the Lakers went.
Well, let me say this. I mean,
it was abbreviated. It was like 18 months. We were 18 months ago, which was 2 seasons ago, we won a championship.
Well, let me say this. Terrell Davis, he said, Lakers and Nets need each other. Like he said, it's a standoff. But Nets are betting on LeBron James to use his leverage to get the Lakers to give up everything that they get Kyrie Irving. Most likely so. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, as soon as LeBron James, if he says, I won't sign an extension unless you do this, the Lakers will go ahead and buckle under. I think that's a fair thing to say. And Terrell Davis says it goes to an A with Kyrie Irving.
We're not going to not do the trade because of picks.
But Terrell and everybody out there, if we get Kyrie Irving and he doesn't perform like we hope he will in the last year of a contract, over 30, and
I'll bet on Kyrie over Russ any day of the week.
If he comes here and he becomes flaky Kyrie, where he's thinking about other things and he's missing half the games and he's going on breaks and for 2 weeks at a time and making LakerTom mad, then I don't think I'd be giving Rob Pelinka an A. But again, it does go up substantially if you're betting on, again, Kyrie Irving in a contract year over 30 to go ahead.
Gerald, you're no fun if you want to wait until we win the championship before you hand anybody an A.
Well, again, then call me Mr. No Fun then. I'm sorry. But you've already called me Mr. Half Empty Glass and all that. So we'll go from there. I see everything in a realistic way for Lakers fans out there. You are the Mr. Sunshine and Mr. Pink and Gold
like
glass sunglasses out there.
Would you be happy if we win the lottery? The answer is always yes.
Okay. All right.
I mean, it's
petting my cat.
Not also, yes, but
Well, I'm just
saying. Depends on what
my
taxes are. It depends on whether it has community property state. It depends.
Well, winning the lottery is great until you see the IRS outside your door. But petting my cat, it's all on AD, LeBron, and Kyrie. If they all show up and play ball, if they want to, you're right. They all have to go ahead and be focused on playing basketball. They all have to stay healthy. They all have to stay on the floor. A lot of ifs, but again,
we gotta hope COVID doesn't wipe out the entire country.
Again, if the first big if is if Kyrie Irving comes to the Lakers, then we can better evaluate the team from there. But again, it's Gerald Glassford. I want to thank everybody so much for watching and listening. It's Tuesdays with LakerTom. Going to try and get Tom here more often on Tuesdays. We'll see how the schedule lays out, plus a lot more one-on-one interviews along with our group chats. That's always going to still be available. We're going to be doing another one. I think we're going to schedule it on Thursday. We'll go ahead and do that there. But also want to go ahead and let everybody know I'm going to do special one-on-ones with Jamie Sweet. Joe Soro is thinking about bringing back his old show, The Nighthawks. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and see if I can also get L. Rob and also Sean Grice to do one-on-one shows as well. But before we head on out, since today is probably everyone on Amazon Prime Day has spent a lot of money on Amazon Prime and all their competitors. You've got Best Buy, Target. Heck, I just went to H&M, spent a lot of money there. Petting My Cat says Tom's Tuesdays are too strenuous. Strenuous for me, that's for sure. But before we head on out, I do want to ask, on Amazon Prime Day, is there anything Lakers fans can get on sale for Amazon Prime Day? Since I try to go and do
Russell
different
Westbrook
things.
jerseys.
Well, those will be on clearance pretty soon.
50% off.
90%, I would probably say. But Terrell Davis says Kyrie Irving, it could be personal in my opinion, but Kyrie won't disrespect the organization his mentor played on. Well, he was
not in a contract year, he won't.
Yeah, well, you say that, but
After
remember,
we give him that 3-year contract that I'm worried about.
Wasn't he kind of disrespectful to LeBron? Couldn't you kind of wanted to leave LeBron? Yeah, well, yeah.
A lot of guys wanted to have their own team.
Yeah, well, Kyrie Irving hasn't actually exactly been the most stable of individuals as far as what he wants and where he wants to go. But right now, he wants to go to the Lakers, and hopefully that's a good thing for us. But before we head on out, it is Amazon Prime Day, and I'm checking out some of the things on Amazon Prime Day, and I'm bringing it up. And lo and behold, there are Lakers products out there, and the things I like to do, and just doing a little something different. Those other shows. Remember, I was the first one to bring on, as far as the Lakers shows are concerned, Jeff Pearlman, brought him on, especially just before winning time. I've done a lot of other things to try and do little things different for Laker fans out there. But there are certain products out there as far as Lakers apparel. There's Laker hats, Laker jerseys, they're not big Amazon Prime Day specials per se. Wanted to go ahead and mention that before we head on out. But I will say that one of the things that interests me as far as the deals on there, and I'm going to share that right now as we're on the air. I'm going to share that right now as I go down and scroll down. Some Kobe prints, that kind of interests me as far as that's concerned. And obviously you see the deals there if you're watching on Facebook and also on YouTube. No big sales as far as, like a 20, 30, 40% off. There's just a few dollars off on occasion, but these are all Prime Day deals for everyone out there for today, the rest of today, and also tomorrow on the 13th. So I did want to mention that there are some things on sale right there. If you want a Kobe classic basketball backpack set, that's, looks like it's about $10 off there. Kobe prints are off as well. That's really cool. One of his youth jersey from high school, a replica of that, saw $5 off. Not too bad. LeBron James wall art, jerseys, Kobe stuff is on sale. So that's pretty good. I enjoyed that. That was something that, that's pretty good there. But LakerTom, before we head on out, is there anything that you're looking for as a Lakers fan right now, since it's Amazon Prime Day? And not just Amazon Prime, but a ton of places actually have a lot on sale. So check out your local Target, Best Buy, Walmart, all those .coms, because everything has a lot on sale. But is there anything that you're looking forward to for Amazon for a good deal before we head on
out? Not really, but I've been kind of interested in. I've been thinking about. I collect certain things, but I've never really collected any basketball paraphernalia. I have all sorts of odds and ends things and so forth. But I've actually been thinking of putting together a collection of old Laker players' jerseys. I have an Andrew Bynum jersey, for example.
So funny that you consider him an old Laker.
There are certain jerseys that sort of tell you an entire history of the Lakers. And so I was trying to think of putting together a sort of a historic array of jerseys. Maybe wear a different jersey every day. I could wear a Smush Parker jersey. We could have.
You're a brave man if you do that.
You could have all sorts of different. I mean, there've been some, but actually there've been. I mean, there've been so many great players even during the tough years, um, Lonzo Ball jersey, but anyway, there are 2 or 3 websites out there that actually sell these jerseys, and they become collector items. It's like jerseys worn by a guy who was a Laker for one day, and he had got a Laker jersey, and somehow they got the replica of that.
Well, you
Laker
can go
jersey.
get replica jerseys like that real easy. So that's not too, I mean, like fanatics.com, I believe they can do it. You can make a custom jersey and number on that with the Lakers logo in the front. That'll look just like what you're asking
like
about
a
as
Lakers
well.
Chris Paul jersey. I mean,
Yeah, there you go. Absolutely, absolutely. Dreaming still about that. He's a little pricey though, so just let you know.
Yeah.
But
I actually thought when I actually proposed that the Lakers should have grabbed him before the Suns did.
Well, if you do that, send it to Joe just to rub it in that that we didn't get him, because that always seems to bother him. The trade that never materialized for Chris Paul. He always reminds us of that.
It's a total injustice trade.
Yeah,
I've always said that the Lakers have, because of their ineptness and the league's dislike of the Lakers, even though the Lakers are responsible for the league being so successful, that that there's a prejudice there, that the bias, and we probably left 3 or 4 championships on the floor. We probably should have 21, 22.
Last thing before we head on out, the NBA has made a couple executive decisions. The boards and whatnot. Take foul, thank God. It's hopefully going away. Although, these players, they'll try to think of something other creatively to try and stop fast breaks.
I really made an attempt to steal the ball. It was a real attempt.
Exactly. So, but hopefully they'll go ahead and, do what they can to just eradicate this rule. The take foul is what they're going to do. Is the take foul has been eliminated, and they're going to go ahead.
Well, here's the question now.
It's one shot in the foul. One shot in the ball
between the take foul and the clear path foul.
That's
a lot of the clear path fouls are take fouls.
Clear path is, I believe, 2 shots at the ball, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
And then this will be, I believe, the take foul, 1 shot and the ball. I think it should be 2 shots.
Made it 2 shots in the ball, because
I agree.
The clear path foul is a take foul. They're always. I would actually,
to be honest with you, I would have done 3 shots in the ball personally for the take foul, because I cannot stand that. Yeah. Me and Jeff Van Gundy
5 to make 2.
Yes.
I used to love that NBA 3 to make 2.
And the other thing I wanted to mention to you is that the play-ins were officially, just given the blessing as far as a play-in.
Did they agree just the same number of teams though?
Yeah, not to my knowledge. Right now, it's still on 10 as far as it's concerned. As far as what they did with
there was talk that they were thinking about 12 just because of the anti-tanking impact.
Yeah, I think they're still, right now it's just 1 through 10, and then it's going to be 7 through 7 plays 8, 9 plays 10, right. And then they limit it the same way that we've been saying.
Same old.
Yeah, because it looks like if it ain't broke right now, don't try to fix it. So absolutely.
Yeah, and then if you were the 7th and 8th team, you get screwed because you have to play the 9th and 10th teams. But
again, but right now it has been now deemed to be a permanent fixture going forward. The next thing that they're focusing on, and this is something I think I want to talk to on the actual larger group, is that the idea behind a play-in tournament or a tournament of some time during the middle of the year. I'm not in love with it, because I don't think you can go ahead and sweeten around the fact that it takes away from the regular season.
What about the risk of injury, man?
Exactly. So what are these guys playing for? I mean, what is what are these guys going to go ahead and do for the winners of this tournament during the middle of the season? Those are the kind of questions I don't think that have been fully answered, that can give these guys enough incentive to make it worthwhile, and for us to make it worthwhile to watch. I think, yes, I know the regular season gets tedious,
a couple $1 million per player or something like that as a prize and so forth.
But throwing cash at these guys, I mean,
but not if somebody gets injured. Somebody will get injured. Somebody will get hurt doing this.
That's the thing, and I don't know. I just don't have as much, I guess, affinity for a middle of the season playing tournament. I wasn't even for the play-ins originally. Then it had to sell me on it, and they did a great job of that. So now I'm
Right.
excited now for the play-in tournaments. But
Well, the one
during the
thing,
middle of
the
the
one
season,
thing
it's
that
kind
could
of hard.
work, the one thing that could work, and actually I made a proposal for this, was that you basically had all of the A teams together. You divided the league into A and B leagues, and you use the tournament in the middle as a way for teams from the B league or to get promoted and teams from the A league to get demoted into the other league. It's sort of like the way that the European soccer does with the
Yeah.
two-tier level type of
And I know
situation.
Adam Silver
Because then
eyes
you can have the first half
those
of the
leagues.
season be just like a season, and then that determines the seeding for who is in the A division for the second half of the season. And it could work, and you would have a much higher quality of play because you wouldn't be playing the Orlando Magic every other game, and so forth. The good teams would play the best teams. The top 15 teams would say the top 16 teams would be in Division A, and the lower 16 teams would be a Division B. Of course, nobody would want to be a Division B team because that'd be all the small market teams.
Yeah, well, see, that's the thing. So I don't know. Again, there's really no beautiful way to slice it up as far as a tournament, in-season tournament as of yet. So we want to hear your thoughts out there. Yeah, of course, on YouTube. You guys have been tremendous. Please go ahead. If you haven't subscribed already, please hit that subscribe button. We're at almost 250 subscribers, trying to grow, trying to expand, trying to go ahead and match up against the big guys because we got a show and a series of shows each and every week that we bring to you that are really, really good. I think that we can stand up against anybody. We truly appreciate it if you can. So tell everybody about us. Subscribe to our shows right here on YouTube. Twitch, don't forget our Twitch channel, brand new right there. Facebook, if you like our page, Facebook, we truly appreciate it. But let us know your thoughts on an in-season tournament, how Rob Pelinka's doing, the Lakers Summer League team who won 83-72 today. Don't want to forget that because again, the Lakers are now 1-1 on the Vegas Summer League season so far. So we'll see what happens there. As far as continuing on that, actually, I'm sorry, they're 1-2. They're 1-2 on the season in Vegas so far. So I think that makes them. They were 2-1. So yeah, they're 3-3 overall. I think for the summer league season so far because they played 6 games, the 3 games in California Classic, and now that this is the 3rd game here in Vegas. So they are 3-3 overall. Again, the new kids, the ones the highlighted, the ones everybody are looking at as far as Cole Swider, Scottie Pippen Jr. and Max Christie still with, unfortunately, not the very good performances, but hopefully we'll see something better before the end of the week is out in Vegas. But if you have any questions, comments, thoughts, please go ahead and share it with us on our YouTube, Facebook, and also as well everything that we do, of course, on Twitch. So please, thank you so much for watching and listening. But LakerTom, I know you worked on an article, so go ahead and go ahead and do that shameless plug for
No,
LakerHolics.com.
I think that Rob Pelinka is giving a master course on how you turn a franchise around, and
I'm not so
the
sure on that one.
article is on my page on LakerTom page at Medium as well as on LakerHolics.com. So stop by and join the conversation about it, and we'll see what happens in the next few days. A lot of it just depends upon whether this trade can come through. The
Yeah, if
Lakers
that's
have
the
done
case, then
everything they need except for getting this big trade,
if
and
that's
the
the
cheating that
case,
they're going to get from it.
if that's the case, then I would want a refund for this masterclass so far. So, we'll see. It's a difference of opinion that we always seem to have on the Lakers. Of course, you also see Jamie's comments. You'll see the guys that's there at LakerHolics.com right there sharing their thoughts. Go ahead, share your thoughts on Laker Tom's latest article. Always a good read. Always a good chance to go ahead and sit down. Check out Jamie Sweet's 5 Things. Again, I'm going to be doing more one-on-one shows as well, bringing that up, hopefully getting the content more out to you right here at the Lakers Fast Break. But we cannot thank you enough for supporting us, watching, listening to us on all your favorite podcast outlets. But thank you so much for watching and listening to us. Once again, the Lakers did defeat the Los Angeles Clippers tonight in Summer League action, 83-72, to bring the team to a 3-3 record. Who knows what will happen? Can they go ahead and in the playoffs coming up in the next few days, do they stand a chance to go all the way to get that Summer League championship? We'll see what happens, but I want to thank you so much for watching and listening, and we'll be back this Thursday. We're going to go ahead and back with one of our group chats this Thursday, so we welcome you back this Thursday for another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. Thanks for watching, everybody, and happy Amazon Prime Day. God bless you, everyone. Thanks for watching.